Good evening. Happy Mommy Mondays. You guys, we're here for another part two or another session on rekindling your dreams. And the topic is, do you know what season you are in? So when you get in, let me know who's here. Hey, Jen, good to see you. Girl, I know you got something to bring today. I'm excited. Hey, Christina, love you. Can you guys hear me okay? I know I'm in a much smaller space, so I might echo a little bit, but we working on the studio. Hi, Tira. Good to see you. Oh my goodness, you guys, my heart is so full right now. I can just bust at the seams. First, I want to thank you guys all for your homework assignments. If you have not turned your homework, put it in the comments. We need to know who's where, how everyone's doing, both for me to know, but for other people to chime in and to encourage you. It might surprise you that you're not in the season alone. I know that blessed me. And before we dive in, let me put this disclaimer, okay? This is not one of those talks of it's your season. It's your season, it's your season. All these things are about to happen to you. And to be honest, I think that a lot of us have had a lot of conversations like that, and we're holding on to these seasons that have not materialized. So we feel stuck. So, not one of those combos. We're going to be a little sober today. Okay. Is that all right with you guys? I know sometimes I listen to people speak or songs and like, it hits your season. It's your time for that car and that house that you've been waiting on. It's your season to break through. And I'm like, so I wanted to make sure we got that out of the way first and foremost, because today's conversation is about honing in on the season that you are in. How can we take advantage of that season and to help us transition well when it's time to move on? Okay, I know, and I'm the same way. Like I told you guys last week, I'm the type that I can be an overachiever. So if you say I'm going to have something, if you say something's supposed to look a certain way, I'm looking for it now, today. I want to know what it is. I want to feel it. I want to run with it. But it's okay to take some time to process and to think and to evaluate, and to kind of take the pressure off a little bit and look at it from big picture. Amen, Jen. She says, talk about it. We need to know our season so we can manage our expectations and steward the season well. Well, there you guys go. Have a great day on purpose. That's exactly it, Jen. That's exactly it. Um, and I know for many of us, I mean, like we said last time, this season, we're going back to school. There's a lot of things that are shifting in the natural. There's a lot of stuff that's happening internal. There's a lot of stuff that's happening spiritually, mentally. And I just want to be here to encourage you. You're not alone. I'm shifting too. Some of us are in the midst of a transition. Some of us are fully engaged in the season that we're already in before we started this conversation. And some of us are already in the next season. And so, wherever you find yourself, it's important to stop and say, okay, where am I? Let me get my footing a little bit. Wouldn't you agree? Because if we're always running, if we're always looking ahead, we can miss the now. And we can also think that every season is our season, or any season that we think up in our mind is our season, right? Like we said earlier, if you think it's your season of prosperity, but you ain't seeing them coins add up, we gonna think something is wrong, right? And so that's why we want to make sure we do that. And we want to make sure we transition well. Not that we just transition, but we transition well. And so you guys, I got my notes because mommy brain be mommy braining. But when you get in, or those of you that are already in, can you put in what season you're in even if you've already turned in your homework, I want to make sure that I like continue to lift it up in prayer, but other prayer warriors can pray too. And I want to say this too. If you're in a season where you had to pause, like meaning you're in the season and it's booming, and it could be feeling good and it could feel rough, right? But you kind of had to put a pause. I want you to know that's okay. It's okay. I know the world tells us that if we ain't moving, we missing out. If we ain't rushing, something's missed. But it's okay if you had to push pause, and it's okay if you pushed pause now. And just to make sure we clear, it's a difference between resting, a season of resting, and there's this difference of pausing. Not that you haven't dropped it, and if you did drop it, okay, pick it back up. It's okay to get it up and pause for a minute, but it's okay to pause, to kind of settle yourself. Um, I've had to do that plenty of time, but it does not give us permission to quit. Okay, because we're going to transition well, and we're going to see what has been in our dreams and our hearts materialize. And when I say dreams, I want you to know this isn't just something lofty. This isn't something like, oh my gosh, I always wanted to dream, I always wanted to be an actress, I always wanted to. If that's what God has for you, amen. But this is one of those like, no, I've seen it, I felt it. I mean, even right now, some of you guys feel the weight and the pressure. Like, it's about to pop off. It's about to happen. But how do I get there? And when I do get there, am I going to drop it? Is it going to be like the other seasons before? And that's okay too. Like, that's why we're having this conversation, to process all those thoughts and all those things. And so, again, if you don't know where you are, you don't know where you're going, right? And that can happen to us. And it's a thing to feel like, man, I'm going to just put that out there. Like, let's say, for example, my dream was to be an actress. I mean, let's just say that, right? One of the things can be, man, what if the insecurity I have about public speaking comes out? What if I fumble? What if they don't like me? We're not going to focus on that anymore. We're not going to entertain that, because part of the reason why transition is difficult, and I thank Jen for this. So she said, you can do it though. Kia, the actress. I'm just saying, if they match the coins up right, because I heard they fighting for some money, but if girl, you didn't make listen. Okay, I literally talked to Jen. Was it last week, Jen? And we were talking about how you know you're in your new, or you're transitioning into your new, but your old self wants to be its old self. It wants to smack you in the head with all the whys. It wants to remind you how comfortable you are. It wants to remind you of all your failures. It wants to kind of safeguard you, right? And make you feel like it's okay to stay here. This is familiar. Nobody expects anything more. There's no failure here. And, and there's less attacks. And I'm going to say this, and I know everybody listening or listening later may not be a believer. But as a believer, we know that the enemy will come up against us. We're not blind. That reminds me, I wanted to show y'all something. Sidebar. Your girl just got new glasses. Y'all better come in here. As I say, come in the room. Because I noticed the last video I kept doing like this. Y'all been waiting for my glasses. So we got these, the black. We got the neutral. We gotta think about these look real. Yes, Jen, I could see. I know it's a sidebar, but walk with me. I end up using this as in our conversation. We gotta think about the tan. And then the last one. Y'all, if y'all need glasses, y'all better check them out. These things were $6 and the prescription was like 20, 30. And we got these. I think it's giving real like professor type. Jen said she liked the neutral ones. Well, we're gonna do the neutral because I want to tell y'all something real quick. Look at the Lord. I wasn't even planning on going here just yet, but we're gonna do this. I have some news. And Christina is the one that is making me talk. But I'm in the season of self-development. And so for those of you that are in a self-development season, my heart is racing even now for you because I know it can be painful. But you think, Christina, you got this. Thanks, Boo. Christina knows me from in our college days. And for those of you that don't know, I had to drop out of college. I did not graduate. It has been a very damaging place. It has been a place of regret. It has been a place of insecurity for me because while I'm seeing all of my other friends and their degrees and knowing what they wanted to do, or even in college, knowing what they wanted to do, but I had to work. And so I had to balance between feeding myself and going to school. And so that was why I dropped out. The money was good. So I left school, but it kind of irked me, right? And then when I had kids, it was like, I'm too old now. I got too many obligation now to go to school. And how am I going to pay for it? Especially now I ain't got no job. My job is my babies and homeschooling, right? But let me tell you something. For those of you guys that are waiting for your right time and your timing, it may just not exist yet. The thing that you've been waiting on. It may just not been developed or you're the one that's supposed to develop it. But I dropped out of kinesiology. My major was kinesiology and my minor was nutrition. And sorry, having a flashback. My old self is rising up. Like, do you really want to put this out there publicly? Because now you're going to be held accountable. See, old self be old selfing, but we ain't going to entertain it. I went to school for that. I did not really know what I wanted to do. It's if you don't know, kinesiology is like pre-physical therapy. And I at the time I was like, I wanted to do veterinarian because I don't really care for people. But anyways, and so here lately in my development season, God was like, I'm pulling you out and I need to get you some tools. And I'm like, okay. And so I started I'm like, God, wherever you want to take me, wherever. And I started hearing, go back to school. Well, I had a debt because I dropped out because of money, but also I was sick. So I had a debt and they would not release my transcript until I paid that debt. Well, about 2 years ago, I got in the email that basically all my medical, all the stuff that I turned in, that they were going to forgive the debt and release my transcript. I'm like, okay, cool. But y'all know I had Ava. And so I'm like, okay, that's nice. I ain't never go back to school anymore. I'm not smart enough, whatever the case may be. And so when God said I was going back to school, that all that came up. How am I going to afford it? How am I going to have to find the time? What am I going to do? Because with kinesiology, you got to be there for labs for anatomy. So long story short, your girl is going to Liberty University, studying psychology with an emphasis on life coaching. I will be going for my bachelor's in psychology and then continuing on for my master's in marriage and family counseling. And you guys, it's paid for. Not only is it paid for, but I got a $50 credit. I know, $50. If you've always been used to being in debt, I'll take $1. But the thing I want to point out to you is a bachelor's in psychology at Liberty University with an inference on life coaching did not exist in 2026, 2027, 2028, 2029 when I was in college. So what if it just doesn't exist yet? I know man says time is now after high school, but what if timing is your mid 30s, 4 kids in, with a husband that's in the military that travels all the time? Yes, Tira, the wait was purposeful. It was purposeful. And so sometimes if we don't realize what season we are in, we can beat ourselves up. Some seasons are for sowing, some seasons are for reaping. Yes, here he already had. I'm going to put this in real quick. So many times we get told that God has a plan for you. He really does. And because when you fall in love with him and you trust him, you begin to see that your whole life was a setup. Because let me tell you something, you guys. I thought that I was not good in school. Your girl had, um, mind you, this is including the whole semester because they, even though they gave me my money back or they dropped the debt, they still gave me all Fs. Even with all Fs, your girl had a 2.75. Working full time, taking care of myself, had an apartment, had to feed myself and my brother, and had a commute to University of Maryland and moved up from Georgia. Like there is so much stuff, but I'm proud of that. It, amen and glory. Right? And so when they told me, not only will we bring you in because you had a good GPA, I also got a discount. And would you know, my behind had already done psychology 1 and 2 and sociology back then, where I didn't know nothing about nothing. Oh, Christina, girl, yes. And I had a crusty dog. Oh my gosh, that's a testimony itself. Yes, she knows I was struggling. But I say all that to say it can be scary waiting on his plan because we don't know it. We don't have a purpose. And if you don't know him, please have a conversation with them. Pray before you do anything. Because sometimes we could spinning our wheels in one direction, calling it our season, calling it our purpose. This is the plan. But in the Bible, it says everything is just in our mind, everything's right in our mind. But the one that has the overall view, the one that made us, that's the plan that is best for you. That's the one you want to tap into for your season. That's the one that's going to tell you. And I know some people, I don't know how I hear him. Some of you guys can feel him. And we have the intuition, especially as moms and as mothers or as women, we have it. And so when you get that feeling, even if it's scary, even if you don't know how it's going to add up, even if you don't know if you can afford it, even if you have all the reasons, you hold on to that. And I don't care how many times you have to check with God. Are you sure? You, you know the one I suffer with depression. You know I try to kill myself multiple times. You want me to go in psychology? You know this mind. And then you want me to help people? Oh my God. And sometimes it's not going to make sense. It's not. But even if you're in the season of, being hidden, somebody told me that their season is just being hidden. What was it? Insulated or isolated, one of what you said. But anyways, that's a good season because sometimes we have to kind of unplug and we have to quiet the noise so we can hear clearly. Because if we hear wrong, we run in the wrong direction and then we're like, how did I get back here? Or I didn't know this was going to be like this. Right? Look at that. You're the most qualified. Don't make me cry on here. Sometimes it takes those life experiences. Sometimes it took that heartbreak, took a lot of no's, rejection. It took a lot of circling the same seasons, but nothing is wasted. It's not wasted. So your girl's gonna transition well. Y'all got me all shaking now. Want to make sure I tell you these three things I'm going to give as tools. So my tip for those that are in transition or waiting for your season and something else has happened or whatever the case may be, I want you to start small. Start small. You guys are going to see as the weeks come up, my schedule is going to be behind me, some other notes around me, because again, we'll have the propensity to want to run, but we can miss things. So I need notes. I need a schedule. Okay. And for those of you that are in transition, Jen, Coach Kia. Girl, I've been thinking Coach K, Coach KO, just KO. I don't know if I want to be coach. Let me know, you guys, what y'all think. Because the reason why I wanted psychology and counseling along with the coaching was because they're two different things. I know I'm going to sidebar, but y'all know me by now. Counseling is more looking at your past, talking it out, figuring out why you have your patterns and things of that thing. You find out what you need to do for you. And then coaching is more accountability, giving you tools, practical things that you can do and things of that nature. So I love the marrying of both because y'all know I've been in counseling for a long time. So I like the marrying of both. But I know there's a stigma too behind life coaching. See, that's old stuff. Shut your mouth. I don't know what I want to call myself. Right now, just a child of God and his provision. You KO. I like KO. Yes, Christina, I'll be able to do both. And again, you guys, it didn't exist before. It had to be separate. So just be encouraged. When that happens, start small, baby steps. So I don't start until September 18th, and that was intentional because August 21st, you can start, but I wanted September 18th because I start homeschooling this week, and I want to make sure we're good and settled in our new place before I start something new. So I know it's exciting, but let's take our time. For those of you that are looking for another job, those of you guys that are waiting for some things to pan out, take your time, check your budget, check your schedule, check what you could do because sometimes your season may mean that you have to reprioritize. There's only 24 hours in a day. So yeah, I wanna go to the recording studio and make this album. But right now my job is fourth quarter. It's busy right now. This may not be the time because you don't want to run forth and go do that thing and get frustrated and flustered without having first evaluated the cost. So that's okay. That's cool. So I'm gonna have to slow down a little bit. That's fine. And I'm only taking 2 classes this semester, you guys, because I understand that and I want to stick to my mommy Mondays and I want to stick to homeschooling. But I had to drop being a key spouse for the military. Um, like any other speaking engagement, stuff like that, I'm gonna have to take it by ear. But those are my priorities: my family, mommy Mondays, and school. And of course, my existing family, everything like that. That's if you guys are waiting on text from me, like that's what's going on. Your girl is going through. I'm trying to before September 18th. Okay. So yes, Jen, that's good. Know where your grace point is. Yes, you have to evaluate because you don't want to miss anything. Then the other thing is you're going to feel overwhelmed at first. Even if you're not transitioning right now, this season, realizing that you're in the season of sowing, or if you're in the season of waiting, or if you're in the season of resting, it can all overwhelm you because you feel like, oh my gosh, like this rumbling. Okay. No, that's okay. Stress is a motivator. I know we're taught that stress, you want to stay away from it, but sometimes stress is a motivator. It's a good way to bubble up to the surface things that are underneath the surface. So that way you can prioritize and check it out and see what's really a priority, what's really going on here. And for you to ask for help. You know, I'm a lover, ask for help. I've had to say to my husband, this is the schedule. I know you want time with me, but I got you an hour every day. If it's a movie, part two, part A and part B, baby. You know what I mean? So my husband's important to me, but is being booed up till 2 o'clock in the morning gonna help us? No, will help. But you know what I mean. Same thing with our children. I have to tell my kids, I had to tell them, look, mommy's in school too. So we all homeschooling. So let's help each other. When you see mommy sitting and reading or you see mommy frustrated or whatever, I need your help. Okay. So it helps bubble to the surface some of the things that we need, which is a good thing. Weight, pressure can cause motivation and a shift. So if you feel that, I know somebody's on here, you feel that pressure like, oh my gosh, like I'm about to explode. It's like I'm being under attack and I see the next, but I don't know. No, no, no. Just know that sometimes weight and pressure is that very thing to push it forward. So, okay, settle yourself, be sober. Okay. And like you saw me earlier, your old stuff will rise up and try to tell the new self what this life is about. No, you can't trust it. And you have to dismiss every single thought that's contrary to what you see in your dream. Okay, because you can feel it, you can taste it. Anything contrary to that, don't. And then ask the Lord, is this for me or if it's not? Because some things can present itself as an offense when really it's an opportunity. Some things can feel like, ugh, or something, oh my gosh, that's great. And it's really not. So you have to keep yourself like sober. And I know that's hard, especially as women, emotionally. But yes, yes, Tira. Take every thought captive. Okay. Again, like I said earlier on, we're not about to just run and just take everything and just do it all. No, we're going to do what God calls us to do. We're going to take it step by step, small steps, and we're going to transition well. We're going to keep our ear to God. We're going to keep our ear to our how we feel about things, our families, our priorities, and we're going to do this. We're going to transition, and we're going to transition well, guys. So, I want to make sure that everyone's good before I take off. Because I've been in prayer for you guys, for myself, for other moms that are not on, that are here later. I want to make sure we good. You good? You can do it. Thank you, Christina. She said so proud of you. And I'm proud of you too. Mr. Rectum. You guys, I'm so proud of you guys like already, because I'm telling you the palpitations that my heart gets when I'm praying for each one of you, and when I feel like God, like this is a shift is happening and the equipping is necessary. I know we have doctors on here. I know we have actresses, singers. I see albums. I see children excelling. I see generations being shifted. I see confidence being restored. I see joy and I see smiles. Like, it's been blowing my mind. The smiles that I've been seeing, the fulfillment, the being complete. I've seen children being born that we've been waiting on. I am seeing and I am feeling like we've been waiting on you. I'm hearing that. We've been waiting on you. See, everybody else has said it and done it that way, but we've been waiting on you. Like you. Like, people are gonna call you out. Don't even know you. Hey, blue hair. Hey, girl. I feel it. So we're gonna stay on the grind, nose to the floor in prayer. And we're not gonna be offended by stuff that comes up. We're gonna look at the opportunity. Even if your old stuff comes up, offense, it's an opportunity. Oh, I didn't even know that was a thought for me to address. Bet. All right. So I love you guys deeply, sincerely. Thank you for the encouragement. Keep me lifted in prayer. Um, and in about 3.5 years, you'll be looking at a licensed counselor and a licensed coach. Still homeschooling, still married, still in love with God, and encouraging mamas, women, any way God has me to. And I pray the same for you guys. So, homework assignment: who's around you? Next week, we'll be talking about accountability. Your homework assignment is who's around you. You need to evaluate, because some people will keep you stuck in a season, some mindsets, some things you've heard, some things that people have been privy to, and some people are here to accelerate and propel you forward. So accountability is huge. So homework is who's around you. Jen, let me see if I can put that in the tag, because you know how my mind works. Who's around you? Homework. So evaluate that. Because also see, some of you guys are sitting on gold mines that are in your relationships. Like there's been some gold mines buried underneath some relationships that even haven't been cultivated yet, or they're new. So who's around you? All right. All right. I love you guys. Have a wonderful rest of your week on purpose. And I can't wait to hear from you guys soon. All right. Bye.